Satisfactory Update 8 is coming out this Tuesday at 3 PM GMT, and you can bet we're going to be streaming the release over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse. But after announcing that it would be a small update, I, along with a lot of the community, are left amazed at how big it's turned out to be. And subsequently, we're going to be breaking down today everything confirmed for Update 8, starting with the new stuff shown off yesterday, which are the new game mode options. These can be turned on through the Advanced Game Settings tab. These new game modes include Flight, which can be enabled with double jumping, and there's also a Sprint mode as well, though it won't be as fast as using the Pack Utility mod or the Fly mod, from my understanding. We also have God mode, which is quite self-explanatory. It makes you impervious to damage within the map borders. So if you stray outside of that, or if you stray too far down, you're going to start taking damage. We also have a way to give ourselves items for free, and more importantly, a creative build mode option that many people have been wanting. On top of this, we have a no unlock cost to any researchables, such as the alternate recipes. However, you will have to have the buildables and resources unlocked that are needed for the said recipe. For example, you'll need sulfur, compacted coal and oil for turbo fuel, steel beams for steel screws, etc. We're also receiving a no power mode, which will not use fuel, but will still produce power, so that if you have any power storage, they will continue to charge as if they were online. Now, another huge addition are starting tiers. You will now be able to skip biomass. When picking a new save, you'll be able to choose which tier you want to start with, and with that you'll also spawn in with a selection of resources at that tier's level to get you started. You can also set your space elevator tier phase and choose to unlock all tiers or research in the MAM, or have unlocked all awesome shop unlockables. This does change up the feel to the game and may take away from the vanilla experience the team wanted us to have. So do bear that in mind when choosing to use these. I am also unaware as to how this will affect achievements further down the line when they're released for 1.0, as I think that's still a planned thing. Now, a few more options will also be coming with Update 8. Upon death, we can now choose whether we want to lose everything like we currently do in the game, where we'll have to go and collect our death crate with all our resources and all our equipment, but we do also have the option to just lose the resources rather than our equipment, or failing that we can also keep all of our inventory on death, which I know some of you will really appreciate. One thing to note is that with Update 8, death crates will now be set to only drop resources. We'll keep our equipment on us when we die, so we don't have to craft more equipment. Now, the final game mode is that we can choose to play without arachnid creatures. This will get rid of all stingers in the game, so you won't have to worry about the cats or the stingers from now on if that's something you really don't like. In my opinion, this makes the game more accessible to players to play how they want to, building on the passive mode that we already have. And I know a lot of people just want to chill and relax to my lo-fi music I co-produced whilst doing their own creative builds. Well, now you can. Speaking of which, the link to my Spotify page is in the description below, and the music is copyright free, so if you're a content creator, you can use it for free yourself. However, there is a heap more stuff coming with Update 8. The big one being obviously Unreal Engine 5, which brings Lumen, which is a fully dynamic global illumination and reflection system, meaning shadows and lighting are going to greatly change the look of our factories if we choose to turn it on, which I will be. The game will also use Nanite to help with optimizing the rendering of terrain, and they're also hoping to develop this to work with factory buildables too, but at the moment it's just the terrain that uses Nanite. Unreal Engine 5 will also bring a new world partition system, which is going to make it much easier for the devs to work on the game. And for those with less powerful PCs, we can now make use of TSR, which is Temporal Super Resolution, which is an upscaling solution allowing less pixels to be rendered in a lower resolution, which can then be upscaled to higher quality without taking it out on your processor. We're also going to be receiving chaos physics with Unreal Engine 5, and that's going to be specifically for vehicles, meaning they will control differently and be less buggy. Subsequently, vehicles have all been balanced according to their design. They're all going to feel different when you use them this time. However, even with all of these optimizations and the team constantly updating and optimizing the game, it may not help the game run better initially. So do be aware of that. We're probably going to have a longer experimental period than we're used to. They've also updated their minimum specs, so you may have problems running the game if you're not running at least a GTX 1650 or higher GPU, a 4-core CPU and 8GB of RAM, as well as potentially needing to use an SSD for Unreal Engine. Now, along with Unreal Engine 5, we have a ton of new stuff as well. So the world is being updated. This will be particularly noticeable in the Titan Forest, which has been totally revamped, but you'll also notice changes in the Pink Forest, the Dune Valley, Bamboo Forest and Red Jungle, as well as the Rocky Desert, although the whole world has received some minor rock changes with all the cliffs being reskinned, and I think some foliage as well. And also some pathways made within the map for vehicles, should we wish. Speaking of world changes, various caves will also have been updated. They've been working on this and gradually releasing more caves, and you may find the 2 new creatures around the world as well. So we have the nuclear hog and the cliff hog variants. Pretty scary. Looking forward to playing with them, let's say. You'll also notice in the background we've received some new changes to the scenery, which will help the world feel more blended together. On top of this, there are some big changes to the quality of life aspect of the game. Blueprints in particular have been given some big changes. Firstly, they'll be easier to place, as blueprints will now have a pointer facing the front direction of the build, and they'll also be able to snap in place before we actually place them down, so we can see where they are in relation to where we want them. We can also nudge them, and also larger buildables as well, a few meters to get them into the perfect position. And we'll also be able to place them with our radial build dial as well, allowing us to quick select items within the same category of blueprint. And the other big thing that's coming with blueprints is that we'll now be able to delete whole blueprints. Even if elements have been changed, we'll be able to delete the remainder as well. Speaking of deleting, the filter delete option has been improved, allowing us to choose a selection of items to delete, and conveyors and pipelines are now placed with their supports to start with, and have a slightly improved placement system for various nuances within the building system. Now, our reticle will also be more centralized, making it easier to select items, and on top of this, equipment has had quite the update as well. So parachutes are now reusable and they've been improved. The zipline can now more easily traverse ceiling joints and is also now toggleable, and it can also easily switch between left and right cables depending on the angle as well. Another big change, one that you've pretty much all wanted, is that Nobelisk will now be able to destroy fart rocks, and the jetpacks can now use 4 different fuels. They've teased turbo fuel being used prior, but now we also have the use of solid biomass fuel and biofuel in addition to the turbo fuel, each coming with their own perks. And by the way, do let me know if you do think this is still a small update in the comments below, or if you're more than happy with all of the changes coming in this update, because there's more than a few new items too. So we also have 3 new buildables relating to power. We have the priority power switch, the power tower, and also the power tower with the walkway, which are going to be great for managing our power logistics. There's also a little bit of balancing going into the hub tiers, we don't really need to worry about that just yet. But these 3 new buildables are great for managing our power logistics. So we're going to be able to place lines much further distances. We'll also be able to segment our power into different circuits and then control them anywhere through the remote control of the priority power switch. And I think that's about it. Do let me know if I've missed anything. Do make sure to join me over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse for the release at 3 p.m. GMT. We'll probably be starting a little bit earlier, but we will see you then. Special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters over on Patreon, most notably our Solar Eclipse patrons James Owen, Firefless, and Treble, as well as our Lunas, the Calamity Ben, Star, Shoku the MN Wolf, and That Dude AW, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is Adam the Useless. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.